8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, and the date today is the 2nd of April, 2024. I am Mark, your host, coming to you from Baker's Green Acres in lovely Marion, Michigan. Not so lovely today. It's been raining since I got up this morning, and hard rain. Yeah, lots of rain. I don't know how much we've gotten, but it's a lot. And once you get wet a couple of times and you change and you get wet again, I don't feel like it. I'm not feeling it. So just assume that I'm in talking with you all because I don't really feel like being outside or anything else that I need to do. Tuesday, as you know, is my day to milk. Frank and I are the team on Tuesday. So we milked today, and that was a fun process. I don't know. Had a lot of things to think about. I got something that I want to show you. I'm going to have to get up and get it. Or maybe my lovely assistant could help me with that. Excuse me. So, and then I wound up having a conversation with a couple of friends on the phone. Had to run some things to ground. There's a few things going on that I think people are going to be wanting to know about. It might cause a little concern. And I had this conversation with a friend. He's a lawyer friend, works in the food world, and he brought some things to my attention. And there are things that we should know. Hey, Abundant Living, could you bring me one of those round stickers for the milk caps, maybe? Or one of the jugs that's in there, if you get a chance. So tonight's show is going to be brought to you by the Anyone Can Farm Tribe Plus, which is open for registration right now. So Tribe Plus is a really good deal. It's sort of the inside track, and I think a lot of people are doing this inside track thing. The thing that's different is, like, let's say that you're listening to a political thing. You're just getting information that you wouldn't get otherwise. That just, rattles around in your head. And okay, you got the information. Now you know stuff nobody else does. But I think what Tribe Plus differentiates from that is we set up a consulting call on Wednesday nights, alternative Wednesday nights. So tomorrow night is going to be the consulting call. It's a Zoom call. So I'm on a little box and all of you guys are on little boxes. So you get to see everybody else, and you don't have to be there if you don't want to. You can be a blank box. I know if you you don't have your hair done or whatever. Some people just don't like to do that, but you can still ask questions that are pertinent to your travels in this world of homesteading. Excuse me. So I think that's a little different. You get to view videos that I make for the Tribe Plus. They're a little bit more thorough. It's sort of for the doer, where the videos that I make sometimes that are just kind of fun videos, they're show and tell videos. Look what I'm doing. Isn't this cool? And it draws people in. Hey, maybe I like the homestead. Let me see what that guy's doing. And then if we can get them into Tribe Plus, then when they say, well, I'd like to know about this, we can be more specific in what we're doing. And on this farm, we do pastured pigs, Mangalitsa, and Mangalitsa crosses, although I'm just farrowing straight Mangalitsa right now. And that's going to work out really good, I think, this year. Everything that I have is sold. So I'm waiting on my next load of pigs to come. My next farrowing. We do pastured poultry. In the summertime, we do layers. That's kind of it's turned into a pretty good thing. Layers has laying eggs. By itself, it's not all that great. But then when you have the store, we have a store on the farm where people can go and get stuff. And I'm actually going to start buying things from people and then reselling them, because the whole goal of that is make it so, well, I'm stopping to get milk at Baker's, might as well get some eggs, you know. Well, I'm getting eggs, might as well get some sausage and bacon while I'm here, you know, I might as well. So that's kind of the idea. And it works for us because we can produce all these things, and I don't have to take them to a farmer's market. I don't have to sell them at wholesale prices to some distributor or restaurants. You know, I can get what they're worth at our store. So that's working out pretty good. We have a butcher shop on the farm. So that's what I was doing today after I got done milking. I was butchering pigs. Took a little bit longer than I thought it would have. I wound up coming up here at like 6 or 6:30, and I was just cold right to the bone. And I sat down in front of the wood stove, and then I kind of leaned over a little bit, and I stayed there for like a half hour. So I've had a little bit of a nap, but it was just purely medicinal. I had to do it. Let's see, what else do? We got some sheep. We milk cows. That's kind of becoming our centerpiece. And I'm starting to really get to understand what a traditional farm is. You know, it's sort of like Noah's Ark. It's got to sustain itself, right? And you have all these different operations. Like last week I sold a bunch of little pigs. And so you get this flush of money coming in on those pigs. But then that's it. And then this weekend, I'm going to sell some more. So I'll get another flush comes in. But daily, we've got milk going out of here, milk going out, and dollars coming in. And it's not a huge amount, but it does add up over time. And as a Tribe Plus person, I share the numbers with you. You know, I'm not going to share the numbers on here so much as I will do on the Tribe Plus people. So that's what the show is brought to you by. I want to remind you of a couple things. We've got Seedling Exchange coming up on May 4th. I'm really looking forward to that this year. I think it's going to be a lot better than it has been in the past. It's always been good. It's fun. But I think this year, the date change, my wife is very wise when it comes to things like that. In April, we can have a day like today, and you got a bunch of people here. Oh, fun, you know. But May, things start to kind of nicen up a little bit. You know, you may have to dress warmly, keep the long johns handy, but at least it won't be like it can be. The other thing that's coming up is Mitten Homestead Conference. It's going to be the 17th and 18th of May. This is going to be the trial year. I'm going to speak on something, pastured pigs, I guess. And then I'm filling in for another guy on pastured poultry. So I'll have 2 classes that I get to speak on. So I really like doing that. It's really fun. I feel strongly about this, that this is a local conference. I've gone to conferences where you actually have to get on an airplane and go. And I don't know. I don't know if much good came from those for this farm or the other farms that I was interacting with, because it was so far away. I don't know. But I like this because my primary here is to be here that weekend, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are going to go, and the kids will stay. And so they'll take care of things. They like it when mom and dad are gone, so it'll be a good thing. All right, so I want to talk about something tonight that came up. A friend sent me something that I needed to look at. In the chat here, we see the sign up for the Anyone Can Farm experience. Okay. Abundant Living has put that in there. Join us on the inside here. Okay. So if you want to be in the Tribe Plus, that's where you go. And it's well worth it. Well worth it. Okay, so is there anything else I need to talk about? I don't think so. Let's get into this. So there was an article that was sent my way. I got a message from Copperhead Farms that, hey, maybe you should look at this. And I was in the middle of something when I got it, and I didn't look at it till the next day, but I knew kind of what it was about, and it's information. I will go to one of the articles that that I read. Okay. And this is from the Washington Post. And if you want to read along with me, you can just go to bird flu detected in dairy worker who had contact with infected cattle in Texas. Okay. So they're going to pull the bird flu card again, it seems like. Okay, so let me read this. A dairy worker in Texas being treated for bird flu, only the second human case in the United States of an illness caused by a highly virulent virus that has recently rampaged through dairy cows in 5 states, federal and state officials said Monday. The patient, who experienced eye inflammation as the only symptom, was tested for flu late last week, with confirmatory testing performed by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention over the weekend. The patient was told to isolate and is being treated with an antiviral drug sold under the brand name Tamiflu. The newly emerged case does not change the risk for general public, which remains low, federal officials say. The patient worked directly with sick cows at a dairy, so the virus was most likely transmitted through that close contact, said so-and-so, spokesman for the Texas Department of Health Services. The case has alarmed disease trackers monitored by the worst-case scenario, human-to-human transmission of the pathogen, which has happened infrequently worldwide, typically among family members engaged in work with animals. On and on it goes. So you can read these, and what I did was I exercised a bit of super sleuth technology. So I read them and I let it echo in my mind, and I see, okay, what is the common denominator in this? And if you go through it, here's another one. If you go through these, let me just tell you, this is what I found on articles like this, because I see these things a lot. They catch my eye. Notice they mention the Center for Disease Control. So that's a federal level thing, right? And then I've got another one in front of me that's reported by the MichiganLive.com, MLive they call it. Dairy cows from commercial Michigan farm infected with bird flu. This was 2 days ago. And then stateofmichigan.gov, highly pathogenic avian influenza detected in Michigan dairy herd. And then I read another one from Axios, bird flu is spreading to cows, Then Bloomberg, Wisconsin State Farmer, Dairy Reporter. I'm just reading some of them. Ohio AgNet, Washington Post. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to read several of those articles and see what the common denominators are on those articles. Excuse me. And what you'll find what I find, maybe you'll find out something else, is that the flu is transmitted by wild birds. So wild birds, when they get in with your cows, they can give them bird flu. Your cows will have bird flu for 2-3 days, and that's it. They just get over it. If you get it, you'll have flu-like symptoms for 1 or 2 days, and you'll take Tamiflu, right? And that's it. But all of these news agencies have run this story, and they're all very similar. So the way it works is it comes down from the top. Okay, this is what we're doing. Get all these stories out there. And when you read these, if you're not in agriculture and you're not kind of in the know of how they work, you might think, whoa, another virus. And it's highly pathogenic and on and on and on. But when you read into it, it's like it doesn't do anything to you, though. You know, it doesn't kill the cows that catch it even. So my question is, how would you even know your cows have it, right? And then they give the symptoms, and the symptoms are, well, they go off their feed. They don't want to eat as much. How do you even notice that? They spend the day at the hay feeder, you know. I don't know how you even detect that. And they say that they'll have runny noses. Their noses are always runny. On and on it goes with very nebulous terms and symptoms, and well, maybe, but then at the end it's but trust the science, right? So, this could blow up in my face big time, because my cows could come down with it tomorrow and all, die. But this is the same MO that we always see when they come out with something, and then shortly after that they wind up with the solution for what they've come out with. So in their defense, maybe this time they know what they're talking about. But we've heard about the bird flu a lot of times since I've been here. I remember at one point it was, you're not going to be able to do chicken tractors anymore, because if wild birds go in there, they could infect your flock with bird flu, and you'll wind up having to kill them all. We wind up killing them all anyway. And you will also read stories here where they say that it led to the death of 80 million birds. Well, they test a few birds in a flock, and whoa, this one's got it, but it's going to slaughter in 2 days. So we'll assume that they all have it. They all go to slaughter, wind up getting consumed by the public. It's not like they push them in a hole, right? But it does bolster the numbers that, we got a problem out there. And the people that are standing by waiting to do this, Department of Agriculture, a lot of times they just stand around with their thumbs, where. And so once there's a tragedy that shows up, they get to go to work. They can go to work, right? The problem with them is usually they should probably be pulling weeds, instead of doing what they're doing, because they really trip on being scientists. But I don't think we really need scientist in this case. I think it's probably like, all right, this is something that's going to happen. Run its course. Don't you worry about it. Now, maybe they are onto something. Maybe. It's not like things like this haven't happened. But I think if you're not skeptical when you read stories like this, I think you have some more learning to do. You will become skeptical after a few more of these things. But you remember bat soup, bat flu stew. Does anybody remember that? I still know people that believe that's where that came from. And yeah, Wu flu China. Now, in the real world, in real science, and I'm not saying science is bad. I'm just saying that science has kind of been hijacked, and it's almost been turned in kind of a religion that you have to have faith in. Like if somebody with a PhD says something, oh, well, that's, and that they are not, in any way ever political or have nefarious ideas or other intentions. They certainly do. They certainly do. And we've seen it. We've seen it quite a bit in our lifetime. At least I have. And the big one was the Wu flu. And if you remember when that came, I gave it a day or maybe one show, like, let's see, but this smells kind of fishy. And look how far they took it. Even though many of us from the get-go, thought, this is stupid. This is stupid. They're going to come out with some sort of solution, and that solution's probably going to be worse than the problem. And sure enough, I mean, the numbers are coming out now. They try to ignore them in the mainstream media, but they really can't because people are sharing it. But the numbers are devastating of the excess deaths in the world that coincide, right, with the rollout of the you-know-what. And many of us saw that coming and said, no, not me. So when I see this coming, I'm scanning it for, okay, what are they trying to do here? Like, is there an agenda here? So let me just pick one of them that I read that I thought was pretty good, if I can find it again. This was M Live. The avian flu that has killed millions of birds over the past 2 years was confirmed in a herd of Montcalm County dairy cows. That's south of me. This is the first time the virus has infected Michigan cattle. It's been a rapidly evolving situation, said Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, MDARD, Director Tim Boring. The infection stems from a herd of cattle in Texas that were brought to Michigan commercial farm on March 7th. State veterinarian Nora Wineland said the cattle were perfectly healthy. They were perfectly healthy at the time and passed all veterinary inspections. When the first animal got sick on March 20th, samples were submitted to the state lab. So I kind of balk at that a little bit. What? The cow had a runny nose, so you got a veterinarian there and checked it out? Results confirmed Tuesday, March 26th, it was the highly pathogenic avian flu. Further testing established it came from Texas. So before you ship them across state lines, you tested them in Texas, and they didn't have it. But they got here to Michigan, and a couple days later, they show up with it. And let's read a little further. That sounds fishy to me. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reported this week that the avian flu had spread to dairy cows in Texas and Kansas through wild birds. They know. Health officials say the risk to the public remains low because there has been no change in the virus that would make it transmissible to humans. But that other story in the Washington Post said, yeah, one of the workers got it, and they had to give him Tamiflu. I'm getting to it. Let me get to the point here. This might seem like I'm talking around in circles, but the whole genome sequence has been looked at by both us on the Animal Health side as well as our colleagues on the public health side, Wineland said. They say they are not seeing any changes in the whole genome sequence to indicate that it is any more a threat to mammals. Okay, right about there is when I say, well, why are you telling us about this then? You know, I mean, I'm sure you come across, clean up on aisle 5. Does it have to be in the Washington Post, right? And CDC and MLive and the rest of them that I read to you? And I only read I don't know. It kept going. So let me keep going, and we'll talk about this. MDAR did not detail how many Michigan cows were affected. Highly pathogenic, highly transmissible. But Tim Slawinski, director of Michigan's Bureau of Food Safety and Animal Health, said officials don't believe the infection will impact any commercial milk supply. So why are you telling us about this? That's what I'm still wanting to know. Why are you telling us about it? Up on aisle 5, Herb, just take care of it, but don't put it in the Washington Post. But they did. There are measures in place to prevent this type of thing from being a threat to the supply. Measures both at the farm level in terms of keeping milk from unhealthy cows out of the supply, but also at the processing level, he said. Here it comes. Dairy farms are required to divert or destroy any milk from infected animals. State and federal pasteurization requirements are also proven to inactivate bacteria and viruses in milk. More than 82 million birds have died since a deadly strain. Now here's the fear factor. Since the avian flu started spreading around the globe in 2022, making it the deadliest bird flu in U.S. history, caused egg prices to soar, right, from 79 cents to 89 cents, right? A chicken started gasping for air. 3 days later, more than 60 birds were dead. Wild birds carry the virus that can infect backyard and commercial flocks. The flu spreads easily through contact with infected poultry, equipment, and on clothing and shoes of farmers. Nearly 118,000 birds have been infected in Michigan in 3 commercial farms and 25 backyard flocks. One infected bird means the U.S. Department of Agriculture requires the entire flock to be depopulated or killed. To keep the flu from spreading, it's particularly deadly for chickens with 90% or to 100% mortality rate, according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control. Infected cattle do not need to be depopulated. Cattle recover from this, Wineland said, depending on how quickly they're noticed to not be doing well. The recovery window is either fairly short, a few days, or up to a little longer, 3 days, a few days or 3 days. What do you give them? It doesn't indicate. Like there's no antidote for it. So they run the course. So the avian flu has been detected in other mammals like foxes, raccoons, and skunks. The risk of humans getting sick from the avian flu remains low, according to the CDC, and no infected bird will enter the food chain. I'm not seeing what I was looking for in that. That's the end of the story. But anyway, NPR picked it up, National Public Radio, and there is some concerns that are they cooking something up? Are they getting ready to do something? This is an absolute nothing burger, but yet all these agencies are carrying it. And you have to ask the question, why? Oh, they just want to inform us, keep us informed that there was a cleanup on aisle 5 and that we got it. We got it. Some of the other articles that I read said that there's absolutely no risk because, milk is pasteurized. It's heated to 165 degrees, and the flu virus doesn't make it through that, right? And so it seems as though when you read all of the stories, it seems as though, oh, the only problem with this is raw milk. So that would be the consistent theme. If you read all these stories, you'd come out with, well, if you're not drinking raw milk, nothing's going to happen. But they say in the same article that humans are not really affected. They don't say humans are not affected if they drink raw milk that's infected. They don't say it. It's very, very nebulous, and that generally is not what we expect from scientists. They are supposed to know. They are supposed to know how to do this. That's their claim. I'm not a scientist. I don't claim to know all these things, but I suppose there are a lot of things that I do know as a non-scientist. Like, when is it that you're going to start telling us this is where it came from, this is what it is, this is the fix on it, instead of all these nebulous stories where you kind of come away thinking, well, I don't really know what the problem is. It doesn't seem like they do either, but they sure have dedicated a lot of ink to it. Now, I don't know. This could just blow over. That'd be fine. That'd be fine if it just blows over. But we have to look at what has happened in the past. Okay. There is a concept known as the Hegelian dialectic. And the Hegelian dialectic works like this. They create a problem, and what they really want to do is sell you the solution to the problem. Wu flu, vaccine, right? That's how it works. And in ag, we shouldn't expect any different. Why are they doing this? Well, it could be a couple of things. It could be they just want to get funding from Washington, So they've got all these articles, all these terrible things. It goes in front of people who are in the position to approve dollars for the states to combat it, and they'll get it. Could be. Who knows? It could be that it's further centralization, a further effort to centralize the food supply. I mean, I have to assume that's what it is, because it's sort of like investigating a death, a premature death. You assume, you try to prove that it is not a murder first, all right? But you assume it's a murder. And then when you find out, oh no, the guy fell off the building here, and here's the bottle of Schlitz that's right next to him. Nah, he probably just fell on his own. Okay, then it's not a murder. Then we go to the next level. There is no doubt that agencies have been working on the behalf of those that want the food centralized. They want the food centralized so they can pull a Joseph Stalin and they can starve people. They can just shut the food off, right? And I think that's what they were trying to do the last time with the whole mask thing, and to see who was not going to comply. And, in European countries, you actually had to show proof that you had been, adulterated with their solution. That it never got that far here in the States, because in the States, people are very hard to govern. And so they have to kind of fool you. They wanted to get us all on board to really want to do it. And there was about half the population that really wanted to do it. And they even started a shame campaign to where if you didn't want to do it, problem. It's not the Wu flu that's the problem. It's you, and you're being selfish and un-American, friendly and unkind and everything. How can you call yourself if you won't do that? That's where they went with it. Don't ever forget that. It should be a great learning tool for you going into the future, because when it comes down to it, any of these nefarious things are at their heart evil. Even if a scientist that works in some office and he's given a job to do and he's doing it, he's working for the destruction of mankind of times when they pull operations like this. Now, he may just be one little part in it, but he's still part of it. And it is wrong. It is evil. Why? I'll say it again. Why is the Department of Agriculture not bringing us all together and said, hey, who wants to farm here? We got some subsidies. We can help you. Let's to buy some land here. We can help with that. No, they're not doing that. They're not doing that at all. They're trying to put you out of business, right? So I have to assume, first of all, when I see them involved with it, that it's probably nefarious, because any dealing that I've had with them has not been good. It has not been above board. They're not a good group of people. They're just not. That's what I've. And if they don't like it, let's go. Let's have a chat about it. But you really don't have good people working for you. I think they're easily manipulated, and I think that they're kind of mercenary when you get right down to it. Whatever they need to do to get that next promotion, they will do it. I think so, within that organization. Anyway, I don't talk to them anymore. There's no reason for it. But we'll see with this one. Now, if I'm wrong and this becomes a thing, okay, I was wrong. But what I'm doing a lot of times is a precursor, right? A precursor to, oh, we have this problem. And to me, it looks like a non-problem, right? It looks like, the peaches are on the floor on aisle 5. Just fix it and shut up. But they're making a big deal out of it. And it's worded very carefully so that, ooh, this is scary. And will the next group of stories come out that, oh, there was a kid down in Malcolm County and he drank some raw milk and now he's dead, right? Is that the next thing that's going to come out? Or a whole slew of them, And it might not even happen. They'll get one of these agencies to just report it, and then raw milk, is that could be? I don't know. What is the wind? What do the winds look like? Is raw milk trending any place like TikTok? Yeah. So with a trajectory like that, does that make people nervous who are in the milk cartel business? I think so. It would me if I was in that business. What is that business? Anyway, what is that? It's working yourself into a position where every ounce of milk that's produced, you get a bite, just a little tiny bite. And then this guy over here, he gets a little bite. And this guy over here gets a little bite. I was talking with my neighbors a couple months ago. And when you talk to them, they're in the milk business. Grade A milk. You say, well, how much is milk going for? And they'll say like, oh, $21 a hundred. $21 a hundred. And I'm used to it. That's kind of how farmers do things. But I have a hard time, and I think most people have a hard time bringing it over to something that I can wrap my head around. It takes a minute. If you do the calculation on weight of milk, you'll come out with how many pounds it is. And so you have to do a little bit of math to figure out, well, if it's $20 per 100 weight of milk, per 100 pounds of milk, well, how many gallons is that? And what does it actually come out to? And as we were standing there, I just used the numbers that they gave me and I did a calculation on it. It came out to 44 cents a gallon that they get when they load it on a semi, and then it goes to wherever it goes from there. The milk that's produced here in Michigan, who knows where it goes? It's very unlikely that the milk that you have at the store was produced in Michigan. They move it around like really far, because they're trying to maintain this just-in-time supply system, which they can do what they want, but it just seems like the farmers, the guys that are milking the cows twice a day, cutting the hay, chopping the corn, preparing everything, maintaining everything, they're getting 44 cents. And then when you see it at the store, it's, I don't know what milk is now, so let's say it's $2. But what happens between the time it leaves the cows here on these farms and goes to the store? A lot of things, a lot of stuff gets taken out of the milk. All the cream gets taken out, and then they put something back in. They have to put flavorings in so it'll taste good. Is it really milk by the time you get it? I don't know. That's an argument for maybe another day. Is a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A really chicken sandwich? Well, they call it a chicken sandwich, and it tastes good, so it must be good, right? Well, no, now we're finding out that, they've got a long list of chemicals that go in there to do what? To fool your body into thinking this is good. It tastes good. Bring me another one, Fat Albert. I want another one. But is that really what your body wants? Now, so I think that the timing is right here to where, or the climate is right of what's going on to where they may have flipped the switch and said, okay, let's pull this bird flu thing back out again. Because what will this do? If you're a small producer and you're doing a raw milk dairy like we are, and things are going good, there's always that looming, somebody's going to say something because raw milk, but then you get stories like this come out, and maybe it's just enough to tip people over to where they say, well, no, I don't want to do it. And it's not like you're being encouraged to do it by the Department of Agriculture. But I wonder what would happen if, say, in the state that I'm in, state of Michigan, if we had 100 farms that were all milking 10 cows and distributing that to their neighbors. I wonder what effect that would have on the milk cartel. I wonder. I think it would be tough. It'd be tough on them. So if anybody doesn't want raw milk being distributed, it would probably be them. They are the ones that are probably putting, if it's what I think it is, they would be the ones that are probably putting the pressure on Department of Agriculture to, push this avian flu thing. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, this is there's all kinds of numbers here that you can call, and they even encourage you, if you see your neighbors have cows with runny noses, that you should call. All right, I'm not seeing it right here, and seems as though this may have the sequence of these stories has changed in my little handheld computer here. But whatever, that's what I heard this week. Now let me read these comments here because I'm not sure if I've communicated everything that I want to communicate. Sean Wise is with us. Hello, Sean. Jensen Family Homestead. Inga, international homesteading. Right on. I wonder where you're from, international homesteading. I'm in. Inga, I see cow masks in the future. Brian Jacobs with us. Wise guy. Copperhead Farms. Hey, Brian Jacobs, you know what? We're freezing milk now. We are freezing milk. Think about that. That may be the solution to the distance problem. Ghost. MSM tells more lies than my ex-girlfriend. I'd probably believe her more. Yeah. I don't even hear mainstream media. Copperhead's with us. Those who sell the chaos sell the cure. That is the Hegelian dialect right there. Our local milk transport runs nonstop trips to Kentucky. How about that? Okay. I think we covered it. Just so you know it's coming, and if anything more comes of it, we can refer back to this time. Okay, yeah. I did make a phone call. I have a friend that used to be the lead attorney at Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund. He's not anymore, and we talked about a little bit about that today. His name's Pete Kennedy, pretty level-headed guy. We don't see eye to eye on everything, you know. I see the Constitution as the end of the story, and he gets hung up on regulations, and I just don't see that. But I talked to him today because I want to know, what do you think is going on here? Do you have any indication from where you're at? Because he aggregates information from all over the country, and then he's got people that are inside of these agencies. A lot of the people in these agencies are totally mercenary. They may be milking cows themselves, but they're food inspectors. You know, it's just like a job to them. I can relate to that. I was in the Air Force. My last couple of years, I wasn't all in. I really wasn't. I was hoping, you know, they came out with a vaccine, and I totally avoided it. I did not want it because I knew I wasn't going to deploy again. So I can relate to people that are on the inside of the Department of Agriculture, tipping people off of what they're trying to do. See, in order to consolidate the food, they have to call on several different agencies. The ones who control the money, the funny money, really, like Department of Agriculture gets huge blocks of money, the USDA, to give out to farmers, but only the farmers that they like, that are doing the things they want, that will further consolidate farming operations. Like, they won't give any of that money to me. They won't really even talk to me when I've gone in that office. They've just been rude as can be. Because there was a time when I thought, well, I ought to get in on some of this money that they're giving out. Nope. They weren't even nice to me because I'm totally rogue as far as they're concerned. They are into monocropping, pesticiding, chemical fertilizing. Wow, is it raining hard out? Sounds like a freight train coming down on the house. But I'm feeling better now that I'm with my peeps and I'm talking. I was feeling really cold and not very motivated to do anything. We're supposed to have some decent weather come the end of the week. Let's see. So I talked to Pete at length about this today, and he said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We talked a little bit about the Amos Miller thing, and nothing's changed there. They're putting on a big show, and every agency that's involved thinks that they're gaining ground because people are getting scared, and more people won't get into farming. If you ask me, I have not changed a bit. If I were going to give advice to somebody that could get into any kind of farming operation they want, I would say this is it. I would say milking cows is it. And there was a long time where I would, looking at it from the outside, I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be tied down. People would say, yeah, but you got to be there twice a day, no matter what. Well, we only milk once a day. And I'm usually here in the morning anyway. Like, it's not like I'm someplace else. I don't wake up other places anymore. I used to, but now I wake up in my bed, so I'm here. And I milk the cows. Or the kids milk the cows, We have teams. We have cow milking teams. So I think it's a pretty good thing. It's a constant flow of dollars coming in. It's something we do every day. It's constant. It's not a huge amount, but it it gets it done. And then, like I said, we'll have these big shots. We'll sell a bunch of meat, or we'll sell a bunch of pigs, or we'll do a class and we'll get a bunch of dollars come in to keep things going. And that's how we're able to do construction stuff. But just day to day, that flow of milk going by is really good. And the nice thing about it is, let's say I sell somebody a puppy. You're probably not going to sell them another puppy until the puppy that you sold them dies, right? Where milk, if you sell somebody milk and it's good quality milk, grass milk, nice and creamy, cooled down quick, handled properly, they're going to be thrilled with that milk, and they will consume it over the course of a week, and then they're going to need more milk. And if you have a lot of customers like that, that's great. That's really great. So I have something that I want to show you, but I need to go to my perch in the other room and get it. Stand by. So we made this improvement, started working on this a couple weeks ago, and finally got the stickers today. But these stickers are designed to go on the caps, the milk caps that we get. So we use ball jars, and these go on the plastic caps. It's made out of a material that sticks on there really well, and you can actually peel it off and stick it back on. And then there's enough room on here to write on there with a dry erase pen, the date or the person's name. And it's just a little improvement, but when I was doing it this morning, I felt like, well, that's an improvement that we've made. And it just looks good. Like the presentation of the milk looks like we've done it very intentionally. And I'm really happy with that. So shout out to Carrie Peden. I pronounced it incorrect. I pronounced it Petrin last time, but it's Peden. And you can contact her through the tribe. And she does this for a living. And she designed this for us, this logo. And that logo is on my trucks and on my tractor and on our card and all over the place. These, I am really thrilled with these. They look so good. Even the logo out in front of the farm, Carrie designed that. So she does a great job. And she's into the whole farming thing. She's Susan Greaves' oldest daughter, maybe oldest daughter. Well, one of her daughters. I'm not sure how she falls in there, but they live on the farm, and her and her husband work there as well. So she's into the farming thing, really into the community. If you want to contact her, you can do it through the tribe, and she can design anything you want. And, here, right here, that design right there, that's Carrie. That's 100% Carrie right there. And then I guess Jill has it in the computer, and then there's a shop by here that does embroidery. And so Jill sends them like an email with that file on it. I don't really know how it works. And then they have a sewing machine there that's hooked to the computer somehow. Believe that? And it sews this out. So Jill made sure I had the logo on before I sat down. I was just going to have my sweatshirt on. And see, it's got the name, so you'll know who I am right there. Yep. Jill made me shirts. This is like a heavy Carhartt shirt. Really does me well. Okay, well, that's what I have for tonight. Let's see. Anything else I want to report? As far as milk goes, I think I'll share this. Right now, I've got 4 cows going. They're milking, and one of them's getting ready to calf anytime. So pretty soon, as soon as she calves, I'll take the next one that's going to calf out of the lineup. And they're making, we're expecting about 15 gallons of milk. 15 gallons of milk. And then the trick with herd shares is you want to match up every half gallon of milk with a person as soon as possible. That's the idea. Well, let's say that you had 10 cows going and you were producing 30 gallons of milk per day. That builds up quick because the next day, 60. And the next one after that, 90. So you can see milk builds up quick. It really builds up quick. So every gallon that I produce, it needs to be out of here, right? So the stores helped because people come in and they take their milk. Every now and then we'll get somebody that won't pick their milk up for a couple of days. And so we have a backup in the fridge. And, that's the way it is. We have a big enough area that it doesn't choke us. But some days we have an overage of milk by a lot, like 8 gallons of milk. So that was disturbing to me. I mean, it never goes to waste. It's not like I pour it down the drain. However, my goal is to convert it to dollars because I need the dollars for other things, right? I have all the milk I can drink. That's great. But I need the dollars for other things, for running the farm. You need a certain amount of dollars, but it's not all about dollars, but I do need a certain amount to make things go. And I can see where someday if we were at 10 cows, then the numbers are really good. 30 gallons of milk per day would be $300 per day, but you have to sell it all. And $300 times 7 would be $2,100 a week, but you got to sell it all. So lately here, I have a friend down in the Detroit area, and he can't get milk. And for him to drive up here to get the milk, really cumbersome, it's pretty far. And I really need a consistent removal of the milk. And so we were talking, and he says, well, how about if you freeze? No, Jill was freeze drying milk. And he said, well, I'll take some of that. So he got it. He says, well, it's good. It's way better than what I was getting. And as we were talking, he said, I used to be the drop point for another dairy that was taking milk down. He says, any overage, I was just freezing it. If people didn't come and get their milk, I was just freezing it. So I got to thinking, it's not the greatest. It's not as good as fresh milk, but it's not bad. I prefer green beans out of the garden, fresh out of the garden. But in January, I'll take them frozen. Yep, I'll take them. So the freezing process preserves more of the nutrient that's in the milk. And I tell you what, the more you look into raw milk, the more you feel as though you've got to have this stuff. Jill did a thing on it. I wonder if it will show up when I want it. She listed all of the goodness things of milk, and it really, the list goes on and on and on. No, I don't see it. But It's really good stuff. You can access lots of information on YouTube. Sally Fallon is the founder of the Weston A. Price Foundation, and she's got lots of information about milk. And I mean, you listen to it and you just, I got to go get some milk. I need me some milk. So with the freezing campaign, it provides us like an accumulation point, because once the milk is frozen, it's suspended right there. That's it. It's shelf stable. Got to keep the freezer going, but that's doable. And so I've been freezing it, and then just like clockwork, it's starting to match up with people. We had this gal, she was getting 3 gallons of milk a week, and she was driving from kind of far away, right? She's got little kids, driving the Suburban and all that stuff, and I'm thinking, I wonder if she's going to keep up with it. 1 week goes by, she doesn't get her milk. 3 gallons of milk. Another week goes by, doesn't get her milk. That's $60 that she's just, pouring down the drain. And so she canceled. She canceled. She says, I just can't do it. I can't fit that into my day with homeschooling the kids and all the other things that I have to do as a mother. And so Jill said, have you thought about frozen milk? And she never considered it. And Jill ran through the pros of it. There are cons for sure. The only one I can really think of is when you, after it's thawed and you mix it back up, sometimes you see little globules of fat, little tiny ones. But if that's a soggy green bean isn't optimum either, but I'll take it in lieu of none. I'll take it. So she said, yeah, I'm in. I can definitely make it up there once a month. And she's going to come up and get 12 gallons of milk. Excellent. Excellent. We got some people that are north of the bridge, and they come down to Cadillac for something. And I think they come once a month, and they get 8 gallons of milk. Frozen now. So I'm pretty likely going to get another freezer. I wish that freezer I got from Brian Jacob survived the trip home. That would have been perfect. And then we'll just start accumulating milk in there. And, in Michigan, you got to do a herd share contract. I don't think you really do, because I think the Department of Agriculture saying you can't sell raw milk because we say so. I don't think it squares with the Fifth Amendment, and they don't want to go to court and straighten it out. And I don't have time to do it neither. So whatever, we'll do the herd share. Herd share helps to get people in the understanding of the fact that, hey, that cow is going to give that milk every day. If you sign up for it, you got to take it. If you don't, you're still paying for it. And so people they get used to it. So the herd share thing works all right. But we can do a modified herd share for selling frozen milk. And I wonder, if the milk is raw, right? If milk is raw when it comes out of the cow and we strain it and cool it, that's raw milk. Okay. No one argues with that terminology. But what is it when I freeze it? What is it when I freeze it? So Kool-Aid is Kool-Aid when it's in a cup and you drink it. But if you put it in a tube and you put it in the freezer, then it's a popsicle. It's not Kool-Aid anymore. It's a popsicle. So by us freezing it, is it raw anymore, or have we processed it? I think we have. And I wonder, it'd be interesting, Carrie, we should do this. We should call up the Department of Agriculture and say, hey, the flu, the avian flu, you said that it will be killed if we heat the milk to 165 degrees, right? That's what you said. Oh, yes. Pasteurization every time. What if we freeze it down to 0? Will it make it? Oh, we don't know about that. Well, find out. You're scientists, find out. And we pay you a lot of money. So find out and get back to me by this afternoon. You think you can do that? Losers, they're not going to do anything. You'd be putting them out to answer the phone. Bunch of parasites. Yeah, so maybe we won't even call it raw milk anymore. Because it's not really raw milk until you thaw it. Then it becomes raw milk again. Less the avian. And there was an interesting theory that came my way. Carolyn from Copperhead put this theory my way. I did not know this, but I kind of confirmed this. My wife knows everything. So I said, have you ever heard this? And smallpox was a problem in the United States. I'm not sure of the dates. Sorry. But you know who wasn't getting it? The milkmaids. The gals that milk the cows. The gals with the great big hands, that are milking cows. They didn't get it because they were exposed to cowpox. So they didn't get smallpox. So if avian flu is going to be the next Wu flu, maybe the answer to that is milk from a cow infected with avian flu. So throwing that milk away is probably like what they want you to do, but you probably shouldn't. You should probably freeze it and then meter it out to the people that you love so they don't get it. I don't know. Just a theory. But maybe, huh? Wouldn't that be fun? Anyway, good to talk about these things. We don't know what's coming. We never do, but it makes sense to kind of survey the landscape and see. I would kind of like to know what the weather is going to be like tomorrow. Tomorrow it is going to be 42 degrees and dry, but Thursday we're supposed to have snow. And then this weekend it's going to be in the 50s, bright sun. So that's great. Okay, that's it. Does anybody got any comments for tonight? Let's see. We have a huge crowd here tonight. Keith's not here. Everything is better with Baker's Green Acres. Yep. The logo on my coffee cup. Coffee tastes better with the. Okay, cool. Oh, Ghost, you got one of those? That's cool. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I guess I remember that. I think that's pretty nice that you would want that. This is international homesteading. I'm sorry. I know who you are. I asked that before. This is the Declaric Homestead. International homesteading. Okay. I know that you don't make a move without calculating it. And if I'm thinking that's weird, I'm wrong. Because I know you know what you're doing. That's the nice thing about having this tribe of people that comes together is there's a lot of wisdom in all of these people. And I get to be kind of fielding a lot of it. I had some fantastic conversations on the phone today with other folks that are milking cows and seeing it the way I see it as a good centerpiece and a way to be able to make your homestead profitable enough to stay home and work together at home. I see it that way. I really see it that way. Can you imagine? Let's say we were milking 25 cows. Now that would take an effort for sure, and we would be in the milk then. But let's say that you dedicated some space to making cheese. I knew a person years ago that had a cheesery. I haven't seen her in a lot of years, and I don't remember her name, but the name of the cheese is Boss Mouse, and it's up by Traverse City. and no, I just haven't seen her. But I did go to her cheesery a couple of times. I took my wife there one time, and it was impressive. But it was nothing that we haven't done. We could do that. She had a steam kettle, right? So it's this great big kettle that the milk went in and was heated to a certain temperature, and then something else happens, and then they wind up putting it in molds and all this stuff. But then she winds up with these wheels of cheese in this room, and they age a little bit, and then she slices them and vac seals the wedges and puts her logo on it, and out it goes, like she was selling to farmers markets and things like that, but doing really well with it. Her problem was she didn't milk cows. So she had to go and get the milk from some guy that she was able to buy it from him raw, because I guess making cheese, you got to use raw milk. But that's not something that we couldn't do. Like if we decided to drop one thing and then do that, I floated the idea and everybody was like, no. But the thing about cheese is it's stable. So if you had the milk from 25 cows on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and then that all went into cheese, as soon as it's cooked and the process has begun, it's safe, And then once it's in a wheel and it's on the shelf, it's stabilized, right? And it just sits there until you have a market for it. And I can't see why we wouldn't sell that in the store as well. Oh, I was talking with one of our milk customers, and her husband have a dog food company. I think he's some businessman from down in Grand Rapids, and then they escaped up here to where it's sane. And they have a company that does dog food, that makes dog food. So they break. I don't know exactly how they do it, but Jill has gotten their dog food, and it's $70 a bag, $70 a bag. And I said, "Ooh, that's kind of a lot, isn't it?" She said, "Well, no, not really, because the other dog food that we get from Tractor Supply, like that's $35 a bag. We go through that really, really quick. And like we don't feed dog food all that much because the butcher shop is in the summertime, it's running. And so we've got lots of stuff coming out of it. But sometimes of the year, it's just not that much stuff. And so Jill will buy a bag of dog food. But anyway, we like their dog food. It's working for us. We've seen problems go away in our dogs with their dog food. So we're going to recommend it. We're actually going to put it in our store, right? So that brings me to the subject of who's got stuff that we can fence in the store. Who's got stuff? So I'm going to be getting honey from Benny Troyer. He's a neighbor. We're going to be getting dog food from the Smiths. What else? Maybe some coffee cups from my daughter-in-law. She's the coffee cup queen. Maybe we could get some maple syrup. Who's got maple syrup? But see, that wouldn't that be nice if you had a little store like that we could buy the stuff and then resell it. Of course, make a hefty profit on it, But it's just nice if people can come in and it's like a one-stop shop. One-stop shop, everything you need. And honestly, I think we could even do like animal feeds, because when I get a truckload of feed that comes in here, I think I'm getting it pretty cheap. And if we bumped it $1 or $2 a bag, that would make that pallet, with 50 bags on it, worth $50, And I could even see having a thing in there with chicks in it. So if people could get their chicks from us, they get their feed from us, and then they bring their chickens back to butcher them for us to butcher them. That makes sense. And then Anyway, I think I'll get going. Appreciate everybody. Hang in there. Let's see. The next event, I guess, is going to be. Yeah, well, we'll be talking to you next week. The next thing that's supposed to happen that's in the news, a lot of people talking about it. I don't know what's in the news, but it's the eclipse is supposed to happen. And it's for like 4 minutes of darkness in some places, but I don't think we'll see total darkness here. But supposedly all kinds of stuff is supposed to break loose. So maybe getting your preps up to speed would be a smart thing. I've heard people say that we won't be able to go to the house for 3 days because of something. And then cicadas, locusts. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a big flop, just like everything else is a big flop. But who knows? I don't know. That's the next thing that's coming. But we will see you if you are with us tomorrow night. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8:00. Talk about everything you want to talk about. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday. Sayonara.